Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back. We are rounding up our print and play extravaganza with the end game. Voting should be starting soon over at Board Game Geek. I'll put a link below so you can go and vote for which print and plays you had the most fun playing. We're not going to do all the topics because we'll be here forever, but we've selected a few of the categories that we are interested to see how all of us react to them. So I'm doing part one. I'm going to be covering best roll and write, puzzle abstract, and dungeon crawl. And I'm joined by the magical hands from Matt at One Player, Dmitry, he's thinking below me, yeah, fabulous. And of course, the lovely Veseklo. Yes. So this is going to be part one. I believe the next part two, we're going to send you over to Dmitry for. But for now, we thought we would give you a preview of what we thought were the best in all of these categories.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I hope that I didn't make any mistakes on my cards here.
There's no spell check when your handwriting is there.
I know. Yeah, we got to rely on our own smarts here.
All right, Veseklo, what do you want to start with?
All right, let's do the dungeon crawlers first.
Yes, dungeon crawlers. Right. Now, we did limit ourselves to only choose from the games that were nominated for this category. So there were some games, the designers got to decide if they wanted their game in this particular category. So we're only picking from those. Did you guys pick one or two? How many did you pick?
I can't remember. Some of them I picked one, some of them I picked two, which is...
Me too! Me too! All right.
If there's an outright winner. Okay, do we do a drum roll?
Okay. On the count of three, Veseklo, you want to count us down?
Okay, here we go. So 3, 2, 1, show.
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Why don't you go first, Veseklo, and talk us through?
All right. So there's not really like a lot of those pure dungeon crawlers, I felt. So I think Weird and DNGN are pretty much it as far as I remember. Yeah. So I think I enjoyed Weird a lot. It's a pretty simple, but as far as I can tell, it's like if you take D100 dungeon and just strip down the fluff, you get Weird pretty much. So
now you played Weird, right, Veseklo? That was one that you did on your channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had really good artwork, if I remember right.
Yeah, the artwork's pretty nice, and it's like a grim dark theme, and all the flavor text was really good, and it was. I never read the flavor text, but that one was really nice.
Was that an in your hand game? I can't remember what.
No, it's just you roll the dice and draw the dungeons.
Oh, right. That's when you were drawing. You did how to draw your dungeon tutorial. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
Now, Matt, you were the one who did DNGN, and I have a bone to pick with you because, yeah, you hear it coming, right? You did the low ink version, and I think the full ink is so beautiful on this one.
The full ink is incredible looking, and it's beautiful and like tactile, and like you're in this dark, dank, like weird abstract dungeon, and here I am like white paper and black icons. I'm so sorry, everybody.
But it was a lot of cards, like in your defense. It's a large game to print. Right?
It was a lot of cards and a lot of tokens and pieces and larger cards and everything. But I did think, I've put down here too, like the thing that I liked about this was the fact that you can crawl through like multiple dungeons in one game. So like the whole campaign is like a choose your adventure, and each time you pass a dungeon, you get to go choose which next dungeon to go face, and it's got all different enemies and stuff. And yeah, so I was really into it. The campaign is great, and the dungeons themselves are pretty fun to explore. So
I like DNGN because for me it was those all black cards. Wow, and that like the little white path that it just felt like you were underground. Just from the way he designed it, or she, I don't remember who the designer is. But it was like you said, the campaign style, and it really felt like a dungeon.
Unless you printed it in white.
Unless you printed it in white, but that's okay. So Dmitry, you're our odd man out.
Yeah, I like the atmosphere of Escape from Station 52. It really feels like you are crawling on a station and you are facing like old style shooters on the computer. You're crawling on the station and you come across enemies and you fight them. The NGN is actually on the second place.
Yeah.
And I also have the third place here. It is the Dungeons of Numera, but for some unknown reason, the author didn't apply for this category.
Right? I know. Yeah.
And the clues in the title. I mean, that game is.
It's called Dungeon.
You're in a dungeon. You're crawling.
But I think this is going to be a tight one because honestly, I think all three of these that we picked could easily be best dungeon crawler.
Yeah, I think Dmitry, you're right to kind of call out Station 52 because even though it's set in space, it's definitely, you're right. It has that like Doom feel of like you're still kind of enclosed in a space crafter. Yeah, I like this one too.
Okay, all right, cool. That's our first words down.
Next up, we have roll and write games.
Oh, this one was so hard for me. It turns out I love roll and write games. I didn't know this about myself, but this is a hard one for me.
All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1, show.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You want to go first again, Veselko?
Yeah, of course. So, of course, 9 Circles, obviously the best game ever. So I don't even know if I need to say anything about that.
It was so obvious. I felt like I couldn't even vote for it. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate your. I think I have your PayPal, so I'll send it to you later. I'll send the agreed payment later.
No problem. Yeah, so definitely the best game ever. Handful of Hazards, I haven't played it, but I did play Extra from Sid Saxon, which is, I think, the inspiration for this game, pretty similar. Mm-hmm. And definitely a great game too, but 9 Circles, I mean, hands down, for me, the best roll and write game. Super fun, easy to print, and easy to get into. And great rule book too.
Thank you. Well, that's most appreciated. I'll say no more because now I'm blushing off camera.
All right.
What about you, Chrissy?
So for me, it was definitely tied between Handful of Hazards and Dungeons of Numera. I loved Dungeons of Numera because it was so unique. It was so different from a typical roll and write, which is like Handful of Hazards. It feels like a lot of other roll and writes, right? Where you tick a bubble, you're manipulating your dice. Numera was like just completely different, but it doesn't have like the expandability, I guess, of Handful of Hazards. I really like how the designer sort of took the base game he came up with and added all these additional themed hazards. Like, I think he really ran with it. Just watching him and the, discussion and how like people were throwing ideas and he was incorporating them. It was just a really neat collaborative designing of a game like in front of your eyes. It was very cool. So for that reason, it edged out Numera. But honestly, this one has my heart, Dungeons of Numera. I was so tickled by it that one is definitely, I think Hazards will win, but I think I might end up voting for Dungeons.
Right. What do you think, Dmitry? We maybe share some opinions, but.
Well, I think that the thing that really affected my choice was the playthrough by Chrissy, because she was. I felt through the screen of my phone when I watched the playthrough that Chrissy really liked the game, and her this opinion it just transferred to me.
I did. It was so charming. I just love that game.
Yes, and it feels like so. As for me, my second place is divided between 9 Circles and the Handful of Hazards. And I also have an honorable mention is the Cheese Board Deluxe. It was applied for this category. It was a difficult choice for me as well because there were so many options because roll and write is the usual style for PnP game. It's a pretty usual thing. Cheeseboard Deluxe was on the third place for me because you have really few rolls in this game, so it's not actually a roll and write game. But yes, my choice is for Dungeons of Numenera because this game is unique.
Yeah. I think a lot of times for me, if there was a tie, that uniqueness factor definitely kind of pushes it over the edge.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. I've never seen a board game like really integrate like Sudoku and like number puzzles in that way.
Yeah.
So that was really like I'm a big Sudoku, like Japanese number puzzles, pencil puzzle, like kind of aficionado is the wrong word because that kind of sounds like I'm good at them, but I'm terrible at them. but I really like them even regardless. So yeah, watching you play and like being like, and you know, like, oh, put it there, or like, oh, put it there was really that totally sold me. I think Handful of Hazards phenomenal, and like Dmitry said, it's like it's a really like roll and write are very much like the standard for PnP, and I think Handful of Hazards did it great.
Yes.
But this the just like that extra like, oh, I never really thought of it like that way. Right. That kind of got me.
And I think this is a first time designer. I don't think he's done a game before, so I was like, wow,
really?
I think so. I think this is his
cool
first
too.
one, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I hope you guys print it out and give it a shot for yourselves.
I definitely will be.
Like I said, I think I might just make a binder with page protectors with all my roll and writes because I've had, because you know, they were just phenomenal for this whole, this particular.
That's what I have. I've stolen this thing from my child, and I keep all my PnPs here.
That's a glimpse behind the camera that we all needed, Dmitry.
Really? I know. Oh my goodness.
I love that. All right.
Let's move on to the puzzle abstract.
All right.
Okay. Ready? And 3, 2, 1, show.
Ooh, oh wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's see.
All right. We got some.
There is a mismatch.
We got some conflicts here.
Wow,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right, Veseklo, walk us through this.
I thought it was a really good game based on the Black Sonata, which is, I mean, it was a groundbreaking game. But Power Void, I feel it's the most pure puzzle game based on like the old school Solitaire, Peg Solitaire. And I love the twist that the designer did, making it, you know, a battle between 3 factions. So I think that's genius mechanic idea. That and just pure puzzle game and very addicting. So I think that's my number 1 for that category.
Now, Power Void, that was the one where you had. I'm trying to remember which one that was the one where you had like the 3 different colors and you were like.
Yeah, you just jump over and try to eliminate. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. It's a very, very nice puzzle game, and just pure puzzle game. So that's why I picked it as my number 1.
Okay, so you went for the puzzle of the puzzle/aspect category.
Well, it is kind of abstract too, yeah,
right.
Because I mean the factions, that's just colors, you know,
right.
So there's not really much theme in there, so it's pretty abstract too.
Okay. And what are you playing with up there, Matt?
This is Hatchlings, and I think this, as I was playing this, I had just like the throwback feel of like one of those real like 70s abstract board games that have like, and I know it's set with aliens and there's a spaceship, but really it could just be put the green puzzle, you know, put the green down here and put the red down here. Like there's not, the theme is like kind of arbitrary in a lot of ways.
Right.
And it adds to it, but I do still feel like this would qualify as an abstract game. And there's a puzzle element to it too as well. You know, there's you know, you're looking to fill your board with, you know, specific patterns. And I think for me, yeah, hatchlings definitely fitted into that, like, kind of both and, like, abstract and
And I think hatchlings was one of the first ones you played, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I played it really early,
and it stuck with you. Wow. Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, not just because I had to color in all the pieces for myself, but but because, yeah, I mean, it was just, and again, like, there's a whole, like, campaign-esque, like, he made, like, you know, the designer made, like, I think, like, 8 different levels or something. So it's like, it's a big game if you really get into it. But definitely honorable mention to Power Void, because I have a lot of fun memories of playing Peg Solitaire as well. So
yes. Power Void, I think I gave I think I picked it for some other categories, because it was definitely a game where I was like, this one has to win somewhere.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I went for Ek because for me, like, you know, we all play Free Cell, right? You know, the solitaire card game where you like, you're trying to eat through it, and that's like the quintessential abstract card game in my mind out there. And the fact that this designer came up with a solo AI trick-taking game, like, blows my mind. Again, I've never seen a solo trick-taking game before in my life, and it works really well. The longer you play, the more you begin to think that Ek is alive and it's out to get you, because you're like, as long as he doesn't throw a 3-sided purple, I'm definitely going to win. And he flips it, and you're like, Ek, how? And so even though it's a very simple AI, you're so aware of what it can't be, as long as it's not, and then it is. And and you start to think of Ek as being like an actual adversary. So for me, I guess I went with the abstract more than the puzzle designation. I wish maybe they'd split those two, but again, it was the unique, just I've never seen this before type of a thing, which is why I went with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't have much to add here, because when I saw your video on the YouTube about this game, by that moment I was not in your team, and it was one of those games that just drew me into this. I wanted to do something like that, and when I saw a game, solo game with a trick-taking element, I thought for myself, what?
Right?
Can this exist? And yes, I like and I like the artwork as well, and the idea that those figures, they have different number of the sides, right? Yeah.
And he actually took a lot of flack for that. He got a lot of comments saying, just change it to numbers. It's too hard for me to figure out how many sides it has. Just put a number on it. And he really sort of stood strong and said, no, I want to have this artwork to it. And he stood by his decision. So I was like, right on, man.
I appreciate that.
That's a good decision. I like it.
Yeah, and you can play, you can play in places where the numerals aren't, you know, whatever the word is. Okay.
Standard.
Cut that out.
We'll edit that in post. Don't worry about it.
yeah, like whatever those numbers are, you know, the whole writing thing, you know, that thing.
Yeah, but I'm surprised at our spread on this. All right, that was very cool. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so I think we have covered our big 3. Best roll and write, best dungeon, best puzzle abstract. I would love for you guys to leave in the comments below. If you have a favorite in this category, let me know what it is. If you think we are totally off base, you don't have to comment that at all. No, just kidding. But I think we're going to move on to our next 3, and we're going to head over to Dmitry, and let's see how we vote there. All right, guys, see you soon.